We like to cover a huge range of topics related to cleaner, greener, safer and smarter transportation on this channel, as well as cover associated industries like renewable energy and energy storage products. Usually that means covering plug-in vehicles of many different types, other alternative fuels like hydrogen fuel cell technology, and of course automotive technology designed to make the world safer for everyone, like advanced driver assistance systems and self-driving vehicle technology. But sometimes we see a story come along that we don't know a huge amount about personally, but still feel it's big enough to cover anyway, which is where we find ourselves today, looking at the ongoing legal battle between Nikola Motor and Tesla over the design of the Tesla Semi. Yes, you're hearing right. The two companies named after Nikola Tesla are fighting each other. Nikola v Tesla. I know, I'm not going to make any jokes. Anyway, when I say ongoing, I really do mean ongoing. It's been in the courts since 2018. Essentially, Nikola Motor is accusing Tesla of patent infringement over the shape and design of the vehicle's fuselage, which differs from conventional big rigs, its wraparound windshield, its side door design, and the way in which all of these three elements are combined together. To go over this in detail, I reached out to the wonderful Andrew Torres of the Opening Arguments podcast. You should totally subscribe if you haven't, who, unlike me, is a real practicing lawyer whose practice is based on business litigation. Andrew's based in Maryland, just outside of Washington, D.C., and last night he sat down with me for over an hour to go into some of the details of this particular case. I should note, as an outside legal professional looking at the same documentation that we can all see online. Don't worry, I'll link to some of that documentation in the show notes. My original plan was to play that recorded interview for you to enjoy today, but sadly, while we did get the audio, this is what the video looked like for a whole hour. Don't ask me what happened, because I don't know. So what I've decided to do instead is to lay out the basic claims in the case here, and the 50,000-foot view based on the interview. And then I'm going to upload the audio of the interview that Andrew gave to this channel so that you can listen along if you'd like for more in-depth stuff. And if you're someone who struggles with more than 10 minutes, well, don't worry, you've got this video. But also, nothing I should say in this video should be taken as me reporting what Andrew said verbatim, rather that this is what I've gathered from our chat, which you can go and listen to unedited yourself. Now to the usual disclaimer. I'm not a lawyer, nor do I claim to be one, and anything I say here is not legal opinion, but merely a statement of the facts that appear as I see them in reading through the documentation of the case. The interview that Andrew gave me yesterday, which I will of course link to in the show notes, goes into a whole lot more detail than I'm going to, which is why you should go and listen. But even then, his opinion is based on his work in the legal world, not binding in any way, and comes with its own disclaimer. So bear that in mind. Disclaimers out of the way, let's get on with the case and the claim. In its court papers, Nikola says it started work on its Nikola One big rig back in 2013, long before Tesla had expressed an interest in building its own big rig. In December 2015, it submitted 6 design patents for various features of the Nikola One, followed in May 2016 by releasing the first public pictures of the big rig. Then in July 2016, 72 days after Nikola unveiled the design of the Nikola One, Tesla announced that it was working on its own big rig, and alleges Nikola reached out to Nikola's chief engineer in September 2016 to see if he would be interested in coming to work for Tesla on building its big rig. He apparently declined. As soon as Tesla began sharing details of the Tesla Semi online in November 2017, Nikola reached out and politely let Tesla know of its pending patents and asked that Tesla refrain from unveiling the Semi based on its similarity to the Nikola One. But Tesla went ahead with its planned reveal event shortly thereafter, and thus in 2018, patents in hand, Nikola pursued legal action, asking for a total of $2 billion in damages. And since then, we've seen a back and forth of submissions from both claimant and defendant. But as Andrew noted when talking to me yesterday, Tesla's only success in the case thus far has been to have the case moved from an Arizonan court to one in California. Attempts by Tesla to have the case dismissed, which, as you'll discover if you listen to the full interview, is apparently a fairly common process in cases like this, failed, and an attempt to get the US Patent Office to invalidate the patents that Nikola had filed has also failed. Right now, things aren't looking great for Tesla, and despite the majority of coverage on this case seemingly siding with Tesla, for example, Electrek's Fred Lambert has gone so far as to call the whole case a patent troll case, the documentation within the case makes it look less clear-cut in favour of Tesla. At this point, I should probably note that I know many people watching this will side with Tesla instantly because Tesla is Tesla and makes great electric vehicles, and Nikola makes hydrogen fuel cell and battery electric vehicles and has less of a fan base. And I get that, but according to what I can see and based on yesterday's chat, it's looking very unlikely that Tesla is going to win outright at the moment. Moreover, it's looking like Nikola does have some sort of case. As Andrew detailed in our chat, there's no telltale signs in this particular case that suggest it is a patent troll case. Instead, there's plenty of evidence to suggest that this is a real, evidence-backed litigation. In fact, as you'll discover if you listen to my interview with Andrew, it's possible that the case may end in an out-of-court settlement, with Nikola and Tesla coming to an amicable agreement, or sort of amicable, about the patent use. It would allow both companies to proceed forward without continuing litigation, likely allow Tesla to avoid paying those $2 billion that Nikola wants, but give Nikola some recompense for its patent claims. Personally, I think there is room for a decent compromise that could keep both companies happy and on the road to making cleaner, greener, safer and smarter vehicles. And let's be completely honest, the more companies making zero-emission big rigs, the better. Which is my roundabout way of saying go and listen to the podcast. I know I've told you to do that several times already, but I'll link to it below. Thanks again to Andrew for joining me. Be sure to add at OpenArgs on Twitter. Visit openargs.com to find out more about his show and subscribe to his podcast using your favourite podcasting app of choice. That's it. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you next time.